Hello gamers, welcome back, or in case you are new here, I'm Enkaziel, and in this video I want to talk about the review bombing situation with the first Descendant. I'll say it here in the beginning, I very highly recommend this game, I consider it one of the best releases this year, and it has been added to the list of games that I regularly play, so my opinion is already made up. However, the game is far from perfect, and just like with any other game, there are many aspects that it can improve upon. So I want to take a look at the things people complain about the most and see if they hold any merit whatsoever. The first Descendant had a few playtests in 2023 and it garnered a lot of attention from people that enjoy this type of game, fans of looter-shooter MMOs such as Warframe or Destiny. Of course, with a lot of interest, there will be a lot of hate. When it comes to review bombing, we first started seeing this senseless hate even before the game was released. The first Descendant allowed people to download the game on Steam 2 days before its actual release. This was done to reduce the strain on Steam servers and allow everyone to have a better experience. It was also a massive help for people that maybe don't have the best internet. No matter how you look at it, this is an absolute win. There is no debating it. This was a net positive for the community without any downsides. Yet, some took issue with this, and the result was the game having around 40% positive reviews even before release, which is ridiculous. The game's rating is slowly climbing up, sitting at 51% right now. It will take some time before the game reaches the appropriate rating, since normal people need to play the game for a few hours, maybe even days, before they can recommend it or not. Anyway, I just wanted to give an oversight of the situation before we delve into the negative reviews. With that out of the way, let's talk about what the most common negative reviews share. One of the most common things that these people complain about is illustrated in this review that comes from Puff the Magic Hobo. A review that a staggering almost 5,000 people found helpful at the time of this video. This review basically complains about the first Descendant being upfront about data collection and their ability to share that data. Every service does it, and it's nothing new in today's day and age. The hypocrisy of this review is that statistically speaking, this person probably wrote it while using a PC with Windows installed, and they most likely have a phone that operates on Android or even worse, Apple. The truth is, this data that services collect, in almost all instances, is used to provide a better service. The market is extremely competitive, and that means if they do not provide a good service, people will just use a different service, and this applies to more than just games. That's why we have multiple competing services, despite every service trying to monopolize as much as possible. In the case of games, it's fairly simple. They use this data to make better games, because if you are enjoying a game, you are more likely to spend your time, and more importantly, money in it. While it is sad that almost 5,000 people agreed with it, there is no shortage of this kind of people in the world. After all, people that believe that the earth is flat still exist, so it should come as no surprise that people can have other nonsensical opinions. The next major complaint is related to monetization, and there are even some valid points. One such valid point is the critique for having cash-up currency packs that are just short of purchasing certain things. This is an anti-consumer practice, and it would be very nice if we never had to see it in games. On a personal level, it's really not a big deal. Let's be real, if you end up paying $1 more, doesn't change much. But I can also see how it might be affecting someone in a tight financial situation, if they only want to spend the required amount. Even if it is a minor thing, I believe it would be very nice if games had consistency between cash-up currency packs and prices in the cash shop. Of course, this will not be the only complaint about monetization that exists. This is a free-to-play game, and it uses an almost identical monetization model to Warframe. Even the pricing is almost identical. This monetization model allows people that want to skip progression elements to do so with money. Some people dislike this type of monetization. Personally, I find it irrelevant, because it's similar to paying to skip bosses in Elden Ring, and I see very little reason why someone would want to pay to have less game to play, especially in a game that has absolutely no competitive elements. And everything, with the exception of some cosmetics, is obtainable by simply playing the game. But it is there for people that want to use it, and that is a win-win situation for everyone. Doesn't affect anyone else, people that want to skip content can skip content, and the company is making money. A live service game that makes money stays online. Sadly, unlike Warframe, it does have a negative caveat. People cannot trade cash-up currency with one another. Personally, I champion monetization models that allow people to trade cash-up currency, because it allows people that cannot afford to spend on games to also enjoy whatever is available in the cash-up. So it's a shame that this game does not offer that system. One important element is that the first Descendant does not have the toxic DLC model like Destiny, so that is a massive bonus. There's not much else to say about monetization, so let's move on to the next problem. The next complaints are related to launch problems. If you've been playing live service games for a little while, you will probably know that anytime a popular game releases, it will have problems. These problems even appear when a popular game gets updated, because our technology, more often than not, cannot handle the amount of people. In the case of the first Descendant, in the very first day, there was a delay in cash-up currency being delivered. Second day servers had some serious problems, and the servers were down for around 6 to 8 hours. And there was a problem with Twitch rewards not being delivered for some people. These problems are normal for any new popular game. Maybe with the passing of time and the advance of technology, we won't have them anymore. But for now, we do. However, what is important is how the developers respond to these problems and how quickly they get resolved. The devs took the time to acknowledge these problems and update the community on what was going on. On top of this excellent communication, any problem that arose has been fixed in under 24 hours, which in my experience is quite fast. So personally, I think instead of receiving negative reviews for these problems, they should have received positive ones, because they did considerably better than most other games. Think about Destiny 2, problems that last weeks. Think about Final Fantasy XIV that always refuses to update their servers and just waits for the population to die down after each major patch. Wayfinder earlier this year had problems for a bit over a week, which had a massive negative impact on the game. So considering all the industry, I think it's safe to say they should be praised for how they handled these problems. Another fairly common element that is present in all the negative reviews is the fact that the game is made by Nexon. Sadly, just like with all the massive companies, the likes of EA, Activision, Ubisoft, Sony, there will be people that automatically dislike a game if it's made by them. However, the publisher and the developer are right next to the description of the game, and their logo is one of the first things you see when you open the game. So reviews that just don't recommend the game because it's made by a certain company are terrible reviews that add absolutely nothing. The last quite common thing that you'll see in these reviews are straight up lies about the game, such as reviews that say that the game is unoptimized and has poor graphics. This might be one of the most well-optimized games this year. The devs went to great lengths to optimize the experience, even dividing the open world zones to ensure a quality experience. I can say with full confidence that when the game runs poorly, it is in all instances a user problem. I have seen players that did not have their drivers updated, Windows updated, or even had so much bloatware installed that it puts malware to shame. In all of these cases, when these people actually went through and fixed these issues, the game ran flawlessly. As for the visual element of the game, it looks absolutely fantastic, having all the fancy new tech like HDR and even ray tracing. So reviews that say that the graphical quality is poor are without a doubt straight up lies. Of course, You cannot expect a newly released game that looks this good to run on a 10-year-old machine, but that is common sense. Overall, these are the most common things that you will see in reviews. Sadly, the major negative effect these terrible reviews have is the genuine negative reviews of the game that showcase valid points and reasons why someone should not be considering this game get buried under a pile of trash. This is it for the situation with the first Descendant. For now, the game is doing great, having over 200,000 concurrent players on Steam and a considerable amount of people on consoles as well. It is by all means a major success that is enjoyed by many. It's a shame that it got review bombed and that the review scores does not reflect the actual game. Equally, or even more importantly, it is a shame that critical feedback is buried under a pile of useless reviews. Reviews that clearly had no real effect on the performance of the game. With time, the review score will recover and reflect the actual situation, and maybe, more importantly, critical reviews that will help improve the game will rise to the surface. Anyway, that is it for this video. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know if you see things differently. Like, subscribe and all that jazz, or don't. See you in the next one, gamers.